The movie begins at a ballet school in America. The instructor, Madame Torna, is preparing 5 ballerinas for an upcoming performance in Hungary. A dancer named Bones is late for rehearsal, drawing the displeasure of Princess, whose wealthy parents are sponsors of the school. The conflict between the rebel and the rich girl escalates into a class struggle and culminates in a satisfying punch to the wealthy nose. The instructor hints to Bones that it would be wise to learn to keep her temper in check, at least until she gets a chance to move on to another place for which she needs to perform well in Hungary. However, upon arrival in the country, their plane is redirected to a different airport, forcing the troupe to travel to Budapest by bus. But the bus breaks down in the middle of a desolate forest. Not wanting to be late, the troupe sets off on foot through the woods. The performance is already tomorrow. In the pouring rain, they make their way to a secluded hotel called Teremok, located deep in the wilderness. At the entrance, they are met by a mute worker named Yuri and a more talkative employee, Osip, who leads the soaked guest inside. Inside the hotel, the girls notice a bar where rough-looking patrons are quietly entertaining themselves with alcohol and gambling. On a tiny stage, a young man named Artyom is performing. He catches the attention of the deaf-mute ballerina Chloe, who, due to her limitations, cannot appreciate his vocal abilities. Bones sees a photograph of a woman in a ballet tutu, the owner of Teremok. Her nickname is the Mouse Queen, but her legal name isn't Walt Disney, it's Devora Casimir. The owner gave up ballet after an accident. Osip's colleague Sona suggests the girls change into dry clothes, but since they only have their ballet attire with them, the guests end up dressing in tutus and point shoes. Soon after, the owner herself, Devora, appears. While she is talking with the girls, Pasha, the son of a local crime boss, enters the hotel to collect the share owed to his father.
Zoli, what up?
When Chloe needs to use the restroom, Madame Torna accompanies her. The remaining ballerinas decide to dance on stage while a local lounge musician plays a classical melody on the piano. While waiting for her student, Madame Torna wanders down the corridor. She accidentally glimpses Devora in her office, torturing some unfortunate man together with her sons, branding his tongue with a hot iron. Horrified, the woman runs to find Chloe, but not seeing her in the restroom, assumes she has returned to her friends. The instructor goes back to the hall where Pasha begins to harass her. To break free, she uses a secret move from a cookbook called meatballs. From the blow to the groin, Pasha loses his composure, along with the respect of his associates and his patients. Enraged, he shoots his offender in the head right in front of everyone present. While Pasha threatens the remaining guests with his gun, the ballerinas huddle together on the stage in fear as Bones stares in shock at the corpse. Devora returns and tries to defuse the situation, realizing that the tax collector has only added to her problems. Princess asks the owner to call the police, but Bones sees that law enforcement is even less welcome here than thugs who shoot without cause. So the ballerina decides to make a break for the open door. Outside, while fleeing from Devora's eldest son, Bones is knocked down by a precise shovel strike to the head. Yuri, the groundskeeper, knows how to make a stunning impression. Acting on the hostess's orders, Osip leads the remaining girls to the basement. Chloe, who has become separated from the group, comes out of the restroom and encounters Artyom, Devora's younger son, in the corridor. Despite communication issues, the two young individuals of reproductive age find common ground and retreat for some privacy. In the basement, ballerina Grace suffers a panic attack. To help her cope, Osip gives the girl a candy which turns out to be a drug. While he locks them in upstairs, Devora orders her eldest son to bring Bones to the others, after which she speaks with the culprit of the incident in her office. Pasha hides behind his father's authority, but the hostess blackmails him with a video recording of the murder. She takes the money back, saying that from now on she will no longer pay tribute. Regaining consciousness, Bones sees Grace telling the planted Sona that no one knows where they got lost and no one will come looking for them here. Bones's attempts to make her friend keep quiet are thwarted by the drug-induced high she is in.
Disobey Devora? She'd take your tongue.
When Sona reports to the hostess what she has learned, Devora decides to eliminate the unnecessary witnesses. A specialist known as Doctor has already been summoned.
Doctor, I have a vermin problem.
At this moment, Devora notices her son with ballerina Chloe and stops him. She does not want to become a grandmother. Meanwhile, as Yuri burns Madame Torna's belongings in the yard, Devora personally digs the bullet out of her head to cover their tracks. In the basement, Bones, following Riddick's example, frees herself from her restraints by dislocating her shoulder joint. She helps Grace induce vomiting to get rid of the drugs, though the residual effects remain. Osip lowers the girls' bags into the basement, then comes to check on them. They pretend to be asleep, but Grace experiences a bad trip. She is overcome by terrifying hallucinations. Taking advantage of Osip being distracted, Bones pulls a hairpin from her hair and attacks him. She jams the pin into his eye, not even offering an alternative. As he tries to shake off his attacker, Osip crashes through a wall into the adjacent cell where the other two ballerinas, Princess and Zoe, are being held. The man manages to overpower the fragile girl. He tries to break her leg as punishment, but at that moment Grace throws a spear she had taken from a decorative nutcracker at him. Although it misses it, gives Bones time to get back on her feet. With a trained motion, she strikes Osip in the chin with a point shoe, sending him straight onto the protruding sharp finial of an old bed. Having gotten rid of the guard, the girls decide to run. There is nothing left to do in the basement anyway. The doctor arrives at Teremok, as necessary for covering up a mess as a tail is for a dog. He intends to cut off fingers, gouge out eyes, and pull out teeth so the remains cannot be identified. Pasha, worried that his father will be angry if Devora does all the work for him, orders his bodyguards to kill the ballerinas. When they head down to the basement, the girls hide in the room where Osip has piled their bags. They arm themselves with whatever they can find, manicure scissors and paper knives. Spotting them, the gray-haired thug Vlad orders his bald partner to deal with them, but the girls barricade the door, jamming scissors into his nose. When Vlad breaks the door down, the ballerinas swarm him, realizing they cannot win one-on-one. In the uneven fight, the girls bite and use whatever tools they have at hand to inflict maximum damage on their opponents. Zoe picking up the gun, Vlad dropped fires at the thugs but misses with surgical precision, only barely wounding the bald one by sheer luck. Armed with a knife, Bones makes it clear to the men that ballet is not only about beauty, but also about pain. Spinning in a dance, she slashes at the thugs. Princess tries to escape, but fails. The door is locked and Vlad catches up to her. The girl pushes him down the stairs where he retrieves a knife and plunges it into Bones's point shoe. Using the protruding blade fragment, the ballerina taps into her inner swan queen, and with a graceful pass, slits Vlad's throat.
I must have one.
Having upgraded their point shoes following Bones's example, the ballerinas emerge from the basement. Here, their paths diverge. Princess wants to get out while the others decide to save the deaf-mute Chloe, who missed all the commotion while in the restroom. Heading upstairs, the trio finds Sona in the bathroom and, under threat of a knife, learns from her where Chloe is. Princess, hiding from the thugs, slips into the bathroom where she sees the doctor working with headphones on. He is cutting off Madame Torna's fingers. Stepping into the hallway, Princess runs into the owner's eldest son, but talks her way out by complaining about the poor Wi-Fi that's preventing her from watching her favorite TV show. He lets the girl go, supposedly back to the basement. The ballerinas find Chloe in the owner's office. She is eating popcorn and watching a movie. Grabbing a shotgun stashed under the table, they use gestures to explain to the deaf-mute the magnitude of the mess they've gotten into, but she doesn't believe them. She's waiting for a handsome boy. Zoe ends up having to carry her sister by force. Descending the stairs, they spot Devora coming up from the basement where she has found the bodies of Pasha's bodyguards. The girls hide in the kitchen where they run into Princess. She takes the shotgun, explaining that she learned how to handle weapons at her father's shooting club. Trying to call the police, they spin the dial of an ancient rotary phone. Meanwhile, Devora asks the hotel guests to do her a favor, to search the building and find the escaped ballerinas. Once everyone disperses, Pasha tells the hostess that he has called his father. He will come personally to deal with the situation. For Devora, this promises nothing good. But the woman does not lose heart. She goes to the storage room where she unseals a chest filled with explosives. In the kitchen, the ballerinas are forced to hide when the owner's eldest son comes in for a snack. The young man notices a telephone cord leading into a cabinet and cuts the connection before Princess can summon help. He pulls out the girl with the shotgun. When she fires, the blast tears off the man's hand. Instead of mercifully finishing off the wounded man, the ballerinas flee. Their pursuers corner them from both sides, straight into the main hall where Pasha, seizing the moment, takes the shotgun away. Armed with whatever they can find, the girls decide to fight back in their own theatrical style. They take their places in a performance-ready stance. Meanwhile, Bones cosplays Freddy Krueger, wrapping the knife fragment to her hand. When the first brave attacker lunges in, the ballerinas use their dance skills to fend him off, slashing him with knives. The waltzing, many-armed ballet Shiva continues the dance of death, sweeping away the attacking criminals. Dance pas, years of training, knives, a picked-up hammer, even the bar counter, all are brought into play. The power of the swan blossoms in full, becoming a swan song for many overconfident men. Mutual support and teamwork allow the girls to fend off the advances of the brazen brutes, that is, and also graces effective work with a hammer on their skulls. When Artyom grabs Zoe, Chloe rushes to her sister's aid. Having made roses out of 2 bottles, she symbolically lays this bouquet on the graves of the unlucky thugs. Chloe threatens Artyom but lets him go in honor of their fleeting romance. The situation increasingly begins to resemble a rural disco from the 1990s when someone brought a gun to the dance. Taking cover behind the bar counter, Chloe makes a Molotov cocktail from alcohol and uses it to take out the would-be shooter. When the enemies are dealt with, the ballerinas notice a window through which they plan to escape. The hostess's son, while she is minding the hotel and not distracted by the noise in the hall, grabs Princess, but she, with Bones' help, puts him in the line of Sona's shot. After taking the shotgun and knocking Sona out, Bones covers the princess's retreat. She herself does not manage to escape. A moment later, Devora appears with a pistol. Since the shotgun is out of ammunition, the girl attacks the hostess, but Devora fends her off with a prosthetic leg, the consequence of the accident that ended her ballet career. Just as the woman has the guest in her sights, Pasha appears. Devora shoots him in the leg. This whole mess started because of his antics. The owner then leads her captive to the dressing room to explain that she lost her leg due to the efforts of Pasha's father, a crime boss named Lothar Markovich. Devora long prepared her revenge, but Markovich never came in person. Only now, after his son stirred up this mayhem, has she managed to lure him to the scene. Devora changes into her outfit for a solo performance, leaving Bones in the doctor's hands. He tears off one of the girl's toes, but for a ballerina such pain is part of the profession. Princess returns to save her friend. Meanwhile, a column of vehicles carrying Markovich and his gang approaches the hotel from beyond the forest and hills. After shooting Yuri, the gang enters the building. The ballerinas meet up inside as the lights go out. Devora, in a stage persona, is ready for her performance. She threatens the girls with a pistol, but swayed by their pleas, lets them go, taking only Pasha with her. She explains that Markovich put an end to her career by ordering her leg cut off. Now, she plans to put an end to him. Devora presses the detonator, activating the explosives she had planted earlier. The ballerinas barely manage to escape the hotel in time. Outside, they see the cars left by Markovich's men, but take 2 motorcycles instead to reach Budapest, without navigation or knowledge of the area, driven by sheer determination, alone. Parking outside the theater where the selection is taking place, the bloodied troupe stumbles into the foyer. They register, and then, still in their torn costumes and worn-out point shoes, step onto the stage to shine under the spotlight and captivate the audience with their dance, delighting the esteemed spectators gathered there. With this, the film ends.